Okay, today I'm joined by Ste Johnson, aka Ste Illustrates, who is also the person that I started Discerning Cyclist with back in 2012. Ste is now a full-time illustrator, and you'll see some of his illustrations on Discerning Cyclist, but he's also doing some books now, and he's just illustrated a new book by Isabel called Raincoats are for Tourists, which is available at Raphaël. So now we're just going to have a little chat with Ste about the book and life.
Hello.
Good to see you.
And you look well.
So, how's things?
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah,
Just
not
moved
bad.
into a house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Got nice new wallpaper on, I've heard, yeah?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's the best
Yeah.
ever. Yeah, very distressed.
So whereabouts are you based now?
Sheffield. Still, I moved here about, I don't know, I started seeing someone, when was it? 2017. And kind of like flitted between like Liverpool area and here for about a year or two, and then I sold my house and moved in with her last year a year or two ago, and then it took us a long time to find a house, but we finally found one, and then COVID, so it just took a while, but we're in now, and yeah, it's very nice, just sorting it all out.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So did you ever try cycling from Liverpool to Sheffield?
No, I did Manchester to Raincoats once.
That's a good effort as well.
Yeah, I did that. By the end, I did it with a mountain bike that I got from work, from our mutual former employer. Yeah, when they did a bike to work scheme, and I got like this ghost mountain bike, and I wasn't like I think about 10 miles and I was just dead, and 20 miles I was just getting angry, and like 20 miles I just hated everyone and just wanted to die, because I was like, I'd never cycled 30, I think it was about 40 miles in the end or something like that. It was a lot.
So that was a want. You didn't cycle back then, I guess?
No, I got the train to Manchester with the bike from work, and I stayed over. I think I went on a night out, and I thought, right, I'll be good the morning after. I just cycle all the way, and if I need to, I just get on the train. I think I was trying to save some money, but I cycled all the way. Just I was just a mess at the end of it. Like, you think like when you're flying on a bike and everything's going well, you're like, hey, this is great. You can cycle forever, but then you hit a wall, and then you hit another wall, and then you hit like I don't know, a tunnel length size wall, and
yeah, or just hills. Didn't have to be. You didn't have to be cycling into walls necessarily.
It was all along the East Lancs Road I went, so it was very, very straight. I mean, if you go to Sheffield, there's a hill. I never knew what a hill was until Sheffield came along. I see people cycling around Sheffield. Like, there's a lot of cyclists around here, and just you see some of them who are a little less than amateur, and they're like. These like hills which are like that, like you see on they do the Tour de France and the gyro, or however they say it, like they're doing the hill, the King of the Mountain stuff, and they're like out of the seat, like powering up, and you think no, there's no way this guy's ever doing that, because he's broken up like an old mountain bike.
Oh, sorry, back. So I just broke up for a second.
Sorry.
No worries. Yes. They actually do parts of they do some of the legs of the Tour de France from Yorkshire now, right? Or have I made that up?
I don't know. I definitely know it's been in the Tour of Britain. I suppose it's like a mainstay of the Tour of Britain, because
that seems more likely, because Tour de France is surely in France, but
well, I've been doing some maps for a project, and I had to do a map of the Tour of France, Tour of Spain, and Tour of Italy, their English names, and France kind of went from Belgium, and the Tour of Spain went into Portugal, and Germany, I think. And I think it was France, obviously. But they don't just stay in France. And the Tour of Spain, the last one, I remember joking with the people I worked with, how everything seemed to happen in the north. And I said, does the south not have roads? Because like I was like literally trying to fit in all this information in the top of Spain, and the bottom of Spain had nothing. Like Valencia, Seville, nothing happening there. Everything was happening in I can't remember in the north. I think Saragossa, is that in the north?
Zaragoza,
yeah, it was all happening around there. It's like it must have been a lottery or something.
It's almost like they hadn't planned it out for you.
Yeah,
Like they hadn't thought about the illustrator at the end.
Yeah. What are you thinking? You know, someone's got to draw this map. You've got to have a thought for them. France was lovely. France was like, we'll use the whole of France, and Italy used the whole of Italy as well. But Spain.
They're very considerate countries, aren't they? I guess.
Yeah.
Like Spanish. So, speaking of illustrations, you've been working on a book. Am I right?
Yes.
And what's the name of that book?
It's called Raincoats are for Tourists: The Racing Secrets of Raphaël Geminiani.
Oh, very nice. Beautiful. And you've been doing the illustrations for this, right?
Yeah, it's written by Isabel Best, and I just illustrated the words she wrote, because the idea for the book was kind of a racing journal, like as if the way I got it described to me was if an illustrator went with Raphaël Geminiani along his lifetime and just sketched out bits of what was going on at the time. So I will show what I mean. I'll just use this one then. This is a really good one of people falling off their bikes. I thought it was quite funny. But he talks about working in his dad's bike shop. So there's a picture of him working in his dad's bike shop.
Oh, amazing.
You know, like, so basically, like I went to work with him one day and just did a quick sketch of him working on the bikes and that kind of thing. Like, there he is outside his dad's bike shop. It was quite hard, this, because I had no reference of his dad's bike shop. So I just had to try and make it look like a 1920s bike shop.
So that's just pure imagination there.
Yeah, well, I looked at bike shops from the 1920s and the 1930s, and I kind of just like amalgamated it into one shop.
Okay.
Because there was just no reference of that. That's the one where they're falling over.
Oh,
I tried to make that like, you know, like funny, like.
Oh, got face first as well.
Yeah. Because the story in that bit of the story goes, the road was like a skating rink, and he was famous for weaving through it. So I just imagined him just like, you know, in a slapstick comedy thing, everyone's falling and he's just like,
yeah, hold it on.
Yeah. So it's nice.
Yeah. So, where can people get that book?
It's on the Rapha's website, rapha.cc. I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah, and just in the bookshop area of the.
Okay, so exclusively at Rapha.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's anywhere else. I don't know. It might be another bookshop site.
That's typically the Rapha way, right? Quite exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive books. Yeah, they do obviously everything on there's about cycling in one form or another. You know, like famous cyclists, and I think they just wanted to do something a bit different, because a lot of the cyclists they've done are you know, more photographic, and this one they wanted to do something because the two people I worked with for Taz and Guy, they work for the publishing company, Blue Train Publishing. They kind of look after it, and Rapha kind of gets them to do it. So I worked with them, and I think they do a lot of the books for them. So they were really brilliant working for them too. And I have to say a big shout out to them and a big thank you to them, because they were amazing.
That's great. So what's your kind of process when you've been given a task to like illustrate a book? Do you kind of just start like little sketches and then build them up, or? The
way I did it, I got the draft of the book from Isabel, and I read it obviously, and then I read it again, and then I just wrote anything that came to mind when I was reading it. So that gave me about like a fair few ideas, and then I read it again, but this time with the idea of trying to come up with something for nearly as much as I could. So I was trying to be like off the top of my head and a bit more thought out. So I came up with a load of ideas, and I sent them to Taz and Guy, and they went through and whittled them down. And then from there, I just did a rough sketch. So a rough sketch takes about 5-10 minutes, and they are really awful. Like, you know, they just scribbles, but they just about show what I want to draw and what I want to portray. And so I did them, got them sent, and then they got okayed or changed or whatever. And then I did a better sketch to get a better idea, and then a final drawing from there. That was because the idea, there's a lot of, although they're supposed to be like quick sketches, they did take some time to kind of get it right, because a lot of them I had to build the scene. It wasn't just like oh, I'll look over there and draw that thing over there, because none of them exist apart from the odd photo of the time. They're supposed to look like quick sketches, but they took a bit of time. But yeah, that's the process anyway. Sorry, long answer.
No, that's good. I guess it takes a lot of work to get to that kind of level, because they're so detailed as well. You've done plenty for Discerning Cyclists before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always admire the talent. I remember when we worked together, I think we played Pictionary, is that what it's called? Where you have to draw and you have to guess what it is.
Yeah.
But like everyone else, when they're doing the pictures, like everyone's like, oh, I don't know, is it a bird? Is it a plane? But then when you do it, it's like, oh yeah, that's a penguin. Like 2 seconds in.
I ran out of time because it took so long to draw the picture. I've got to get it right.
Get the colours in and everything.
Yeah.
So going back to your cycling experiences in Yorkshire, how are you still cycling them with all the hills there, or?
No, I'm not at the moment. No, I got here. I walk quite a bit around here, but I don't have a bike at the moment. My last bike got a bit too bashed by cars. So I haven't been back on the bike since. But as I say, I just noticed them when we're driving about or walking about. There's like usually a peloton or two, kind of going about the place, or as I say, some poor sod who's not used to the hills, who's desperately going through his gears to try and race him a bit more.
So I guess it's more hardcore kind of cyclists rather than people commuting around town.
There's a mix, but there is a lot more, especially when you get to the Peak District. Like they're definitely, you see a lot of people wearing Rapha and like better kit and lycra, and they're like flying. There's a lot of people there. I mean, you see like about 7 or 8 people at a time in little groups cycling. I think there's even a few pubs where, before you couldn't go into a pub. You see like a collection of them. Like I think there's a road, Aberdale Road. There's a few cycling themed cafes along there, and I've seen a few kind of having their coffee, like from the cycling brochure kind of look.
So yeah, coming up to Christmas as well. Have you got any big hopes for next year, or anything you're looking forward to next year?
I don't know. Just be nice to go outside again, but I have no idea how long that's going to be. Personally, I'd love to do more work with Blue Train, because they're so lovely to work with, and I've done a few cycling projects now with them. That one with the maps was with them. So anything like that was great, because I'm pretty decent drawing a bike now. But yeah, I can't think of anything really. Just get this house sorted and do projects that kind of interest me. Yeah, that's a really boring, dull answer, isn't it?
No, that's good. Hopefully we'll get you on the bike as well next year at some point.
Yes.
Get you up a big hill.
Yeah, I've got to get it. I mean, I should do, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Cool. So thanks very much for your time, Ste.
Thank you very much.
And you can find Steve's book with, who's it by again?
It's through Rapha.
Through Rapha.
Yeah.
Cool. So exclusively through Rapha, you can find Steve's new book, or newly illustrated book.
Illustrated book, yes.
And yeah, thanks for your time, Ste.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Yeah, take care. All the best.
Thanks. Bye.